Oh, so hello everybody, it is Sci-Fi here, and yeah, today, or this week, apologies that the 10-1 video didn't actually come out during the week. I yeah, got a little bit caught up with, you know, real life. But this week, not today, we're checking out Sigma's 20mm f1.4, which is the first 20mm with 1.4. And here it is, the Sigma 20mm f1.4. So the only reason it's still in the box now, even though like 2 weeks ago I actually unboxed it, is because I have a little pile over there of just product boxes that I always get, and like I'm always like, oh, I'll include that in a video. I don't want to throw it away yet. I'll include it in the video, and then I never do. But now, because I'm taking YouTube like half seriously, because you know, I got a job. If you remember, funny enough actually, in the Sigma unboxing video, I said that I have an interview for a new job in about dead on an hour. Well, I got it. Wouldn't you know? I got it. Yeah, it's nothing special. It's just a pizza delivery job, because you know, I passed my driving test. Anyway, back to this video, and I'm actually including the box this time because I have this weird, I'm one of those people, like, if you watch the YouTube channel Becky and Chris, Becky has this really, like, people think it's a really weird thing with product boxes and all that kind of stuff, and I kind of had the same thing, but nowhere near to that extent. So when I was in high school, I did product design, so I know what good box and bad boxes and shit like that, and it's really weird. I don't really know how to describe it, but I like boxes. So anyway, let's unbox this for the second time. Sigma do 3 types of lenses, and there's art, sports, and contemporary, I think. Is that all there is? And so the sport is stuff like this, where it's 70-200 f2.8. Contemporary is the more weird lenses, like I can't actually remember any of them off the top of my head. There'll be a link to Sigma's website down below, so go check it out. So yeah, art is essentially the L series of Canon and the G Master of Sony. And anybody who knows Sigma art lenses know that they just have a look to them, like a really nice, soft, but yet sharp look to them. So in the box we have this little carry case, which I can't get out. I literally did it a minute ago in the last clip. Get out. Comes a little carry case, which I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure all of Sigma's lenses come with a carry case. This is the 20mm carry case, and this is a 70-200 carry case. So just imagine what their 60-600 looks like. Jesus. On the front of the box you can see it says Sigma. I mean, you can't, because this lens doesn't focus that frigging closely. Don't know why I said friggin'. This lens doesn't focus that fucking closely. Unzip the bag and you've got a lens! Again, like I said in the last video, this is second hand. So this is Sigma's 20mm f1.4 art lens, and I feel like I've said that about 3 million times right now. Also, I'm just going to be switching between like this studio bedroom thing and out in the forest, just to, you know, spice it up a little bit. So I know last week's video was in a forest, and again we are in technically a forest. It's not really much of a forest, because literally if you go like through this way, then you can see a bunch of houses. This is literally like someone's massive back garden, but it's not someone's back garden. It's weird. It's like, I don't know, it's Britain. Oh, and also just a heads up, this isn't being recorded at 1.4, this is, what is it, 3.2, because it's really bright outside. So if I were to put it down to like 1.4, this is what it would look like. So like I record that like 1.4 in the, like at home in the studio, aka my bedroom, because there's well, it's controllable light. And also this footage is going to be really shaky because this lens doesn't have image stabilization, which is a bit of kick in the bollocks, because I wanted to use this lens for video recording more than photography. But this video isn't looking at the videography side of this lens, it's looking at the photography side, because I am a photographer. Look who it is, he found a wild Chloe.
In my natural habitat.
So yeah, in terms of build quality of this lens, it feels fucking heavy. Like, it is a bulky lens, and I'm pretty sure it's made of aluminium. It's definitely made of, it's all made of metal. Like, you can feel in the weight that it's made of metal, but I'm not entirely sure which metal it is. I think it's aluminium. I may be wrong. But yeah, no, as soon as I took it out of the box, I was like, this is fucking heavy. It was a lot heavier than I expected. But if you've seen Snatch, then you know that heavy is good. If it doesn't work, you can always hit him with it. That was a terrible Russian accent. Train is so loud. So I can do good accents, like I can do an Irish accent, and I've been doing it for years, and I've actually fooled someone before. I was with a friend and we went to one of their friends, or no, we met a friend in the park, and I was putting on this Irish accent, and they fully believed that the accent was real. But the problem was is that I was talking And he came over and he was like, have you got an accent? I was like, no fucking shit mate, can you not fucking hear it? And he went, are you from Liverpool? I was like, what the fuck person from Liverpool talks like this? I can also do sort of an Australian accent, but I don't really tend to do that one as much. And that was fucking shit, I'm never doing that again. I used to be able to do that really well, and now I haven't done it in a while. And fucking seagulls, mate! Seagulls piss me off. If you live anywhere except Britain, then you won't quite understand how annoying seagulls are, because they should be at the sea, because that's where they're from. But you know, English fishermen decide that we just drive away all the seagulls from the sea because we're stealing all their food, you know, fish. And so they've just fucked off from the sea and come to the fucking mainland, and if you go into town, they are fucking everywhere. So, taking off this gigantic lens hood is the element, the front element, that's the word I was trying to find. Stay on there, you bastard. So you got the wide fish angle shaped glass front element, obviously because it's a wide angle lens. Built into that is its own lens hood, which is brilliant for people like me who are pretty much only going to be using it for photography, but a bit of a bitch for like full-time videographers. Because, and even actually if you want to do long exposures, then good luck having the aperture open, because you can't put filters on this lens, obviously, because, you know. So there is a bit of a downfall if you are looking to use filters, stuff like variable NDs, normal NDs, polarizers, gradient filters. Good luck with that. There is probably a company that make those kind of, almost like the, what's it called? Like the box things that you put on there. Like it screws onto there and you put the filter over the glass filter over the top. But I don't know, that'd probably be expensive. And because this is a prime lens, the only ring that you have is this massive ass focus ring, which feels really nice. It turns very nicely. It doesn't turn slow enough that you spend 3 years trying to get the thing in focus, and it doesn't turn too fast that if you like go then you completely thrown off the focus. Like that Tamron lens that I'm recording on now has that. The focus ring is so small, and it's like you nudge it just the tiniest bit and it's out of focus. Not that I would recommend manual focusing on a low aperture wide angle lens because of how small the focus plane is, I think that's what it's called. But because of how small the focal distance is, it's really hard to try and get stuff in focus on this thing. But if you want to, good luck to you. However, if you're not going to be using manual focus, which, good decision, be careful when photography, not as much, but videography, as it's constantly autofocusing, be careful, because when this is set to like Canon basically continuous focus in like video mode, where it just continues focusing whatever's in front of it, if you turn this ring, it will turn the focus. So you may even just be like moving it with your hand as you're moving the camera, but it will throw the focus off. Which is funny because this little lens here doesn't do that, and this costs like 100 quid. This costs like 600 quid.
That made me feel so uncomfortable. You shouldn't.
Speaking of the autofocus, is it any good? Now a lot of Sigma lenses have focus issues, should we say. Like Sigma's 85 1.4 I think it is notorious for focusing problems. That's the word I was looking for. I was going to say mishaps, but that's such a British word. This lens isn't as bad. Sometimes it will say that it's focused and you take the photo and you look at it and it's just not in focus, and I've had so many photos where it's like it said it was in focus, so I took a picture and I have no idea where it was focused. So is it accurate? Yeah, 9 times, 8 times out of 10 maybe. Is it fast? Fuck yeah! From a videography standpoint, this lens's focus is phenomenally good. It's accurate, it's quick. I forgot what I was going to say. And both in photography and videography, it doesn't hunt. There's no focus hunting pretty much whatsoever that I found while I've been using it. Whereas, again, this lens, I keep comparing it to this Tamron lens because that's 18 and this is 20, so that's the closest comparison I have. If you want to check out my video that I've done on this lens, click here, I think it is, in this top corner somewhere, or it might be that one, I think it's that one, to check out that video. Another thing that is really good about this lens that the Tamron doesn't have anywhere near it is the closest focal distance. What that means is how close you can get to a subject while keeping it in focus. So if you were to lock the focusing at the closest point, how close you could get to a subject.
Wide angle shouldn't be used for portraiture up that close. This is my favourite.
She finds it so funny. I haven't got that big a nose.
You do have a really big nose.
This lens can't even focus that closely. And with this being such a wide aperture, the closer you can get to a subject affects how blurry the background is. So how close can this focus? 20 centimeters, which doesn't sound like a lot. Have I got a ruler? I don't know if I have a ruler. Don't ask me why, but I have this really long ruler, and it's like such an odd ruler. It's 40 centimeters compared to the normal like 30 centimeters that rulers normally are. So 20 centimeters, that's 20 centimeters. And this is not from the lens either. This is from the sensor. So if I were to put this on the where is the thing? So the end of this ruler is going right by where the sensor is, which is about there. And look, you can't even see it, but this is where 20 centimeters is. That's how close you can focus with this lens. Oh my god, what is it with my breaths today? So yeah, for close-up product shots. So yeah, this is really good if you want to do stuff like product shots, because the way I see it is that because of how closely this focuses, I consider it to be a macro lens just because of how fucking close it focuses. But because of how wide it is, you can also get some establishing shots within a macro shot, which doesn't make any sense until you actually see what I mean but by some of the photos that I've been throwing up now. It's crazy the kind of images that you can get from this, and I think it gives a really, really unique look if you're delivering some of these photos to a client, because instead of just having the macro shots, stereotypical macro shots, where it's just like the product and no background whatsoever, or establishing shots where you've just got a shit ton of stuff, you can mix that up and get really close to your subject in focus with this. Maybe turn the aperture like up a bit so that F1.4 is like this thin. Turn it to like F3, maybe F4, so you can actually get the product in focus, and the out of focus background isn't as out of focus, so you still get an idea of context of what actually is in the background. I just think it's really, really cool, and I know a lot of like die-hard basic like professional photographers are going to go, that's stupid, that doesn't make sense. If you want to get close to a subject, you eliminate the background. If you want the background, you don't like show one specific subject, you show the whole area. And I strongly disagree after using this lens. Oh, and by the way, just as a heads up, my camera is the 7D Mark II, which has an APS-C sensor. So this 20mm isn't technically at 20mm, I think it's 32mm, which actually I think works better because it's more cropped in, so it's not as fuck off wide as it would be on full frame. So like for example, this is a photo that I took on the 7D Mark II of a random motorbike that I found outside. And that looks goddamn fucking wide, and that's only on 32mm. Whereas if you put the exact same, well pretty much the exact same composition on a full frame 5D camera, which is Chloe's camera, and take the same photo, ends up looking like this, which is just way too wide. But yeah, I just think you should use this lens specifically on an APS-C. Unless you want fisheye distortion sort of images. It's fisheyed enough to look distorted, whereas proper fisheyes like 8mm and 5mm and all that kind of stuff is so fisheyed that people recognise it's being fisheyed, if that makes sense. Unless of course that's the kind of look that you were going for, then by all means. I really wouldn't think that it would be that much of a difference, because when you get stuff like telephoto lenses and you put them on APS-C and full frames, you can't really tell that much of a difference just looking at it. Whereas the wider you get, the crop factor of a sensor really does make a difference, and this is obvious. That's obvious in some of these photos I'm showing you. So just to kind of wrap this video up a bit, I said I would be switching between studio and outside, but I'm not actually sure how much stuff I recorded outside. I don't know, do you guys like it when, you know, like it's kind of switched between outside and inside? It's just, I was recording all the b-roll for this and taking the thumbnail photo for that the other day while I was out in the forest, so I thought I might as well just record some of this stuff. I had all my stuff written down, so I thought I might as well just say it. But if you'd rather it just be out in the forest like the 10mm video was, or you'd rather it was just in here like this video pretty much was, then let me know down in the comments below. I think I kind of rather it in here because I can just write whatever I want and then just put it there and read off of it, and you know, I've got time. Whereas when you're outside, as other people who vlog and stuff like that probably know, you tend to forget stuff because there's a lot of other shit to be thinking about. But you know, anyway, just to wrap this video up, what are the outlying cons of this Sigma 20mm f1.4? And just to quickly list them off, it's heavy, there's no image stabilization like I said earlier in the video, so vlogging on this is kind of They do make Sony mounts of this lens, I believe. I think they do. I think they make Sony mounts of this lens. So if you've got one of the Sony A7 Mark whatevers or the A9s or something like that, that have the in-body stabilization, like on the actual sensor, then you might be able to use this lens. Because, you know, this doesn't have stabilization, but the fucking camera does. But for DSLRs, obviously, that don't have IBIS, then you're kind of buggered. Not that that makes a difference if you just set it on a camera in something like this, like a studio, and the camera's not moving anywhere, then actually you can get some really nice looking video out of this. In fact, actually, I might just switch over for the end of this video. Because in the Sigma video where I unboxed this and used it, I didn't realise that the sharpness levels on my camera was turned all the way up, because I take football photos, and so I keep the sharpness on so that when you look at it, it's an extra step taken out of post-processing, because obviously football photos, you want them to be like sharp. Whereas now I've changed it and this is on portrait, so I think it's pretty much just normal. So I'm just going to switch this over and pretend that this is that lens, or pretend that that lens is this lens. Be right back. And there we go. Sigma's on and the Tamron is here. I mean, the Sigma's here. Look, it says Sigma there. So I don't know what you're on about. Definitely couldn't do that with that lens, Jesus. Sorry if the composition's a bit off. I can't obviously see the screen on the 70 Mark II, and it was set up for this lens, which is 18, so it's slightly wider, so this is slightly more cropped in. What was I talking about? The third con, so it's heavy, no image stabilization, and of course the focusing issues, which I spoke about earlier. As you can see in video mode, it's really not that bad. Like, it's focusing pretty quickly. It's just, it was more on the photography. Holy shit, it got dark really quick. Like I said, it doesn't happen too often. It's only like 8 or 9 times out of 10. It rarely ever happens, but when it does, it's a bit of a bitch. Oh yeah, and of course there's no filter thread for a filter. Obviously, it's a filter thread. However, what are the pros? It's wide angle, which is always a bonus. Low aperture, which is always a bonus. Means it lets in more light in. Let's turn this light off and just see how well it does. Like, this is low light. Like, there's pretty much no light other than my curtain that's half open and these lights back here. With F1.4 it lets in more light, so the ISO noise won't be too bad. Obviously this is a really shit scenario, but like at night time with street lights and that, it probably wouldn't be too bad. But when you put this combination of wide angle and low aperture and close focal distance together, I believe you get some really, really unique shots that actually I haven't seen that many of, like, commercially. And I think that if you can deliver those personalized, almost unique looking photos to a client, people are going to look at those photos and go, holy shit, that's really interesting composition. I've never seen that kind of thing in my life. I'm not a good actor, right? Leave out. Also, something funny that I looked up. So I just wanted to make sure what mounts these lenses are actually made for. So obviously this is a Canon mount. They do a Nikon and they do a Sony version. This lens retails on Canon mount for £700, so that's $918. Nikon, the bastards, is 50 quid cheaper. Yellow bastards. I try to sound really angry at Nikon then, but like I said, I'm a bad actor. So this lens isn't exactly cheap, but it's not exactly expensive. It's kind of in the mid-range, which I think is pretty good, considering everything of this lens, of how wide it is, the low aperture, the fact that it's made of fucking metal, and the fact that it's Sigma art, which instantly means that you get, like, you just get those shots that are just so much nicer. So when I first got this camera, I was going to be like, yeah, I'm only buying Canon glass, and I'm saving up for Canon L series and Canon L 70-200 IS USM shit, and yet here I am with the Sigma 70-200. I started looking into other lenses, which is why I found that one, and was like, shit, Sigma's better than Canon. Now of course that statement is only true on the EF mount lenses, because if you know anything about photography then you know that Canon's RF mount lenses are just the fucking bee's knees. Nikon is lacking and Sony is just in their own little mirrorless corner. Best way to describe it. But if you forget about like Canon RF mounts and just look at the EF mount lenses, which this is an EF mount so it won't fit on an RF anyway, so my point still stands. Sigma EF lenses are better than Canon's own EF mount lenses, in my opinion. You can disagree with me all you want, but I'm not going to be spending all my money just so I can have Oh, I don't have it anymore, do I? The Canon badge. I was going to pick up the 70-200 that I had, but I've only got the Sigma. I had to give the other one back. But I'm not going to keep spending more money just so I can have Canon written on my lens. Especially not when you've got Sigma lenses. Don't buy Tamron. And not when you've got Sigma lenses who are doing just such better image quality for half the price. Well, not quite half, but like a lot less money. It's official. I'm going to put it out there. I am migrating to Sigma. Obviously I'm sticking with Canon cameras because Sigma cameras are like, yeah, just forget they even exist. So, is this lens for you? If you prefer the general, stereotypical, nice bokeh, short plane of field, no, compressed images of portraits, like stuff like out of this lens, like the 70-200. If you like stereotypical photography photos, then fuck no, stay the fuck away from this lens. If you want to get creative with your photography and produce images that are like mind-boggling for clients, because obviously they don't understand what this photography stuff is. They just see a photo for a photo. So if they see the out of focus background, which everybody loves, and the fact that it's wide as fuck, then get this lens, dude. This lens is fucking awesome. And if you want to do stuff like art, like, not obviously Sigma, art, like, you know, photography, art, like painting, art, then get this lens because you can get really creative with some of the shots you can get with this lens. Again, because of how wide it is and how low the aperture is. And it definitely gives you a unique look because I haven't seen photos that come out of this lens. I haven't seen photos like the photos that come out of this lens, which is pretty cool because now I've got it. So my verdict is that on full frame, I think it's just way too wide. Obviously you feel free to disagree. I think personally it looks so much better on an APS-C camera just because it's not as wide, it just completely crops out that distortion on the edges and you still get wide and out of focus backgrounds. Do what you will with this video. Take the information with a pinch of salt until you've bought it for yourself and actually used it. But until then, subscribe, hit the bell so you stay notified when I post new videos, as everybody on YouTube says. If you want to look at the last video, which was actually reviewing this lens. Bye bye. Go and check that out if you haven't already. See, look, now it's like fucking bright outside. Welcome to Britain, where one minute it's dark as fucking raining and the next minute it's bright as ball sacks. Don't know why ball sacks would be bright. That's such a British thing to say. So yeah, anyway, that's enough from me. I forgot what I was saying. My mind is just being completely like Men in Black's just fucking done and I'm like neuralized, that's the word. Now I can't remember a fucking thing I was saying, so I'm going to leave this video here and do what I did in the last video. I realised I said I was ripping off Pete McKinnon because he used to do it a lot, but actually he hasn't done it for like a year, or like, no, even more than that. Also guys, hey look, I got a new tattoo. The semicolon is suicide awareness, so if you don't know about the semicolon project, then I'll have a link down below so you can read all about it. And the other one is, basically the story behind this is that I went to the tattoo artist, or I wasn't paying for it, it was Chloe's nan. We went up to Coventry to see them, and as a late Christmas present she wanted to get us tattoos. Obviously Chloe isn't old enough, she has to be 18 here in the UK. Because of how small the semicolon was, he said for the price you can have another small one. So me and Chloe were going through the internet trying to find the vector art. Is it vector art? No, single line art of Star Wars, because after all these years she's never seen Star Wars, and now in the space of a weekend she's seen all 6 of them. And so yeah, we found this one online and it was the Millennium Falcon. I think is actually pretty cool. I remember I went into college like the Tuesday after the weekend, because I came back on Monday. One of the girls was like, she was like, you're gonna regret that in like 50 years or so. I'm like, fuck off, am I? It's weird because whenever I put my hands together you can see like 2 loads of tattooing. But yeah, anyway, I'm going off topic. I'm going off topic. So yeah, this has been my video of the Sigma 20mm 1.4, just using the box so that now I actually have an excuse to get rid of it. So yeah, that went down beside my bed. So yeah, I will see you in the next video, which hopefully should be this 70-200 from Sigma. I will see you guys in the next video. One day I will master this. I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Oh, I nearly did it. Get on there.